Parshas Achrei opens up with the Seder Avodah of Yom Kippurim, but it also ends off with the Seder Avodah of Yom Kippurim. How so? At the end of the Parsha talks about the Isurei Arayos, the laws of the forbidden relationships, those who you're not allowed to marry, you have to keep distance from. And interestingly enough, that's the laning for Mincha, Yom Kippur. And it's something which, throughout the ages has been pondered, why, by Mincha of Yom Kippur, you want to talk about, the Isurei Arayos. Right? The fact that it's in the same parsha is not, significant. That's not not an adequate answer, because what's in between Avodas Yom Kippurim and the Isurei Arayos is the parsha of Shchutei Chutz. So it's a matter of reading a little bit weiter. Let's read the parsha of Shchutei Chutz, the Issur of Shchutei Chutz that they had, particularly in that generation. They weren't allowed to eat basar tava, but we skip over all that and we go straight to the Isurei Arayos. Meaning there must be a real innate connection between the Isurei Arayos and the Avodah of Yom Kippurim. And it's not a coincidence that they're both in the same parsha. Now, part of the answer lays in a Rashi in next week's parsha. That the Rashi is undoubtedly on the words Kedoshim Tiyu, obviously the unwritten kasha is that the parsha of Kedoshim comes immediately after we finish off the parsha of Arayos. And so Rashi says, Kedoshim Tiyu is going on the issue of Arayos. Have you Perushim in Arayos? And Rashi says something rather, it's a Lashon of Chazal, it's a Lashon that needs deciphering. Kol Makom, She'ata Motze Geder Erva, Shom Ata Motze Kedusha. Any place where you find that there's a barrier against, Arayos, right? There's a barrier against these promiscuous relationships, there you will find Kedusha. And now, before we explain what needs deciphering over here, we're getting to, at least on a superficial level, we see a clue towards answering our mystery. That in tshuva, we're supposed to bring ourselves back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right? Lashon Rambam, hu sheyoshev achotet lifnei Hashem v'yisvadi. You return before God, and that's what the psukim say in the beginning of the parsha. Lifnei Hashem titoru. Right? We have to stand again, reposition ourselves in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and all you did was cease from sin. So seemingly you're still far away. You're just not getting away further. So part of the solution is, and we're going to break this down a little bit more in a second, right, is that kol makom, when you put up a fence against what you've done wrong, there you will find Kedusha, meaning you will find yourself before HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that means that there's actually a message of hope that if you put up a barrier between you and the thing that you've done wrong, you find God there. You're back lifnei Hashem. It's not that you've just desisted from moving away further by ceasing and making a safeguard against it. There you find Kedusha. But let's break this down a little bit more. All right, the Lashon of Chazal, Kol Makom. Any place you find Geder Erva. What do you mean, Makom? It's me. I am restraining myself. It's not, why is this spatial? Makom, Sham. In this place, there, you find Kedusha. As if, it's Geder Tfisas Makom, as if this thing takes up space. Me, am restraining myself from doing something wrong. I am a Kadosh. But that's not the Lashon of Chazal. Kol Makom, Shata Motze Geder Erva, Sham Ata Motze Kedusha. In that place, there, in that place. Well, what does place have to do with anything? This is not spatially related. Holding yourself back from your taivas. But the thing is like this. A person has to ponder, what the role of the mitzvahs lo saseh are. Of our 613 mitzvahs, more than half are mitzvahs lo saseh. And why? Right? Seemingly it's about, avoiding regression, right? Not crossing those red lines. Right? With the mitzvah saseh, seemingly, we are moving towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are serving Him. We're doing something for Him. You're doing a mitzvah, doing a service for Him. You're moving towards Him. Right? That's self-evident. That's the experience. Also, I'm an act of service of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Desisting from Aveira. I am just avoiding harming myself and distancing myself from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Now we understand that that's necessary, right? But then the question goes back, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu create a world with such a minefield of, spiritual detriment and spiritual hazard, right? That there's so much protective measure is necessary. What is the service that comes out of that? It's not just that, of course, I have to resist harming myself and harming my spiritual perfection. Right? What does HaKadosh Baruch Hu want from it? Why did he make the world such a spiritually detrimental place that as a countermeasure, he had to give us 365 negative commandments? Now, the truth is, this question really could be taken back to another more elemental level. We have two basic midas that we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with, Ahava and Yira. For those who say the L'Shem Yichud, right before any mitzvah, like that. So we serve that, B'dechilu v'rachimu, serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with fear and with love. Right? We understand what the love is about. Like love, intimacy, dveikus. What's the fear about? That's one of the chelkei avoda. And now these two questions are actually very related. The Rambam himself, and it's echoed by all the Rishonim and all the Sifrei Musar, have pointed out that Ahava is the central drive behind the mitzvahs aseh. Right? You love someone, you want to do for them, and you want to get closer, you want to serve. Right? Yira is the shirish, is the central midah behind, the driving force behind all the mitzvahs lo saseh. You're afraid of ruining your relationship, you're afraid of ruining yourself. Fear causes you to desist. Fear doesn't prompt action. Fear prompts inaction. It makes you reticent and scared and not willing to take risks that holds you back. So the shorish of mitzvahs lo saseh is yira, and the Rambam writes this in the Moreh Nevuchim, but everyone has copied it since. Right? That the yira is the shorish behind the mitzvahs lo saseh. Right? And whereas the ahava is the shorish behind the mitzvahs aseh. So these two questions are related. What is the function of mitzvahs lo saseh? What is the function of the midah of yira? The Ramchal answers this in a short, cryptic way in the Sefer Derech Hashem. In the 4th section, he has a small chapter on ahava and yira. And he says something very interesting. And he says, ahava, it's passion for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's a bread, it's a fire. And, this is, of course, to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and to serve HaKadosh Hu, uvachol nafshcha, even ad mesiras nefesh. Right? Ahava brings you to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and the highest level of ahava is willing to die al kiddush Hashem. That's ahava. That's what Chazal Darshan was. Vat Hashem okecha uvachol nafshcha is the din of mesiras nefesh. For all those times you have to be moser nefesh rather than serve avodah zarah. It's learned out from the mitzvah of avas Hashem uvachol nafshcha in ad mesiras nefesh. So ahava is a driving force to go to God. Ad kedei, being makriv yourself for His sake. So ahava is driving force towards. What does yira do? Says Ramchal an amazing thing. Yira does the it brings the Shekhinah down. Yira brings the Shekhinah down to earth. And he's not marchiv on this very much, but allow me to add some explanation. That's what he says. Yira causes, ahava brings you to Him, yira brings Him to you. All right, so now just to point this out, the first place where we found this to be, the case is the story of the Akedah. Right? The Akedah happened on Hara Moriah. So what does the Pasuk say? Ata yadati ki yirei Elokim ata. I now know that you're God-fearing. So this now becomes consecrated as Har Hashem Yera'eh, the house where Hashem will be revealed, down here on earth. Where Avram showed Yiras Hashem, this now becomes consecrated as the Mokum Hashem Yirah, where Hashem will be able to be seen on earth. And it's very interesting to note that Yira and Re'iyah, they're the same letters. Yireh, Yareh, Har Hashem, Yera'eh. The pshat is like this, to go into the Omek HaInyan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He Himself, of course, is everywhere. But His Shekhinah, right, His revealed presence, also yearns to be everywhere. Just like He's everywhere. He's of infinite power, so the Midah called His divine presence also wants to be everywhere. Just like the owner of that Midah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is infinite, so also the Gili of Malchus Shemaim yearns to be everywhere. Problem is, it's blocked. It's the reason why it's not revealed on earth, and Hashem is not nireh. You don't see Him. He's not Yira'eh on earth. It's because, the Sitra Achra blocks His presence, blocks His revelation. Right? By the mitzvahs lo saseh, which is our direct confrontation with the Yetzer Hara. Right? It's not the pshat that if you overcame your Yetzer Hara, right? So you survived the battle. You didn't just survive. Right? When you overcome your taiva, that taiva of the moment has been defeated. And therefore, Malchus Shamayim comes to take up the space now vacated by pushing that taiva out. Every time you overcome, you don't. Now, if you give in to him, you make him stronger. If you don't give in, right, you make him weaker. And Malchus Shemayim comes to fill in that void because you voided the Yetzer Hara. You voided the Sitra Achra from that place where you were Omed Ben Nisayan, right? And therefore, Malchus Shemayim moves in. And that's the wonderful tikkun of the mitzvahs lo say. Mitzvahs lo say fix olam hazeh. Mitzvahs say drag us to Shemayim. Give us a connection to heaven. Pull us heavenward. The mitzvahs lo say purify earth and make earth a makom of where the Shekhinah is. And that's why it's also, going back to the example of the Beis HaMikdash, there's a mitzvah, Yira Kol Schorcha, you go there to see. And when you go there to see, what's the halach you have to be very careful of? The halach of Mora HaMikdash, show awe and fear of that place. Umi Mikdashi Tiro, because the shirish of Gilui Shekhinah on earth, that God reveals himself even within physicality, right? The Gilui Shekhinah on earth is caused by Yiras Hashem, right? Being God-fearing and not giving in to your Yetzer Hara, resisting the taiva. When you resist the taiva now is voided. And in that place where you defeated the Yetzer Hara, in that battleground, the Shekhinah comes down there because you made space for the Shekhinah to come there. Because previously the Sitra Achra took up that space. When you resist the Sitra Achra, you neutralize it. And in that space where you had that Milchemes HaYetzer, the Shekhinah comes and manifests itself there. And that's what it means. Kol makom she'ata motze geder erva sham ata motze. Literally, if you could put up a siag, right? You put up a siag that you won't be nichshol. That place, mamish, literally, spatially, in whatever place, that place where you had Milchemes HaYetzer and you won, on that place the Shekhinah dwells. Sham ata motze kedusha. It is a tremendous chizuk for the Baal Tshuva, right? That. The Rambam says in Hilchos Tshuva, the reason why Chazal say Makom Shabali Tshuva Oimdim Afil Tzadikim Gorim En Michoim Lamod, because Heim Kofim Es Yitzram Yosemem. The Baal Tshuva, he has it tough. He's fighting his Yetzer a lot harder because the guy who tasted it once, and knows what it is, it's harder for him to resist after having that pleasure. The tzaddik that never tasted the taste of sin doesn't really know what it is. He doesn't know what he's missing. It's not such a struggle. So listen to Chazal. Makom Shabai Tshuva Omdim. Their place is higher than the place of the tzaddik, because where they're standing, they're engaged in a perpetual Milchemes HaYetzer, and because which the tzaddik doesn't have, because he doesn't know what this taiva is. Right? So in their Makom Shabai Tshuva Omdim, tzaddik Gurim Chol Mama, because the Shekhinah stands there. Because where you fight with the Yetzer Hara and you don't give in, the Shekhinah moves into that spot. Because what? That's something else. All right. It's a different bechina. That means that he challenges you on a different plateau. Right? You're never rid of him. That's what it means. You're never rid of him. Doesn't mean he has a bigger Yetzer than you. It means you never outgrow him. As he grows with you, he'll challenge you wherever you are. That's what it means. All right. So in Mela, the hope, that's why I read it on Mincha Yom Kippur time. You're so far away from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And not only that, when you stop sinning, you're going to feel that burn of that sin and be fighting that temptation for the rest of your life. You feel yish. No. That getter that you're going to put up, that siag, that wall that's hard to build, right? That wall that's hard to build is mamish what gives you a tremendous chus, that wherever you are and you feel that taiva and you don't give in, on that place you're going to bring the Shekhinah down to earth. And your mamish lifnei Hashem wherever you are. And those taivas that will come back to haunt you, when you give in to them, the Shekhinah will be there with you every time you resist. In short, right, we build a wall against the taiva and the Sitra Achra pays for it. And when we do that, right, it cedes area to the Sitra, the Kedusha, and we make Heitato Malchus Shamayim great again.